chaotic
Tim
interview
Walz
here when
surrenders and run off NBC News as his scandal blows up in his face. If you know, Tim Walz was responsible for the two people in Michigan that was on the Senate. They got killed, I think, sometime last year or this year right here. In a while. Well, he was back in the news again. Well, a scandal he was involved blew up in his face. You try to blame it on Trump and the Republicans, but the MC News person lady brought the receipts and everything. There, thank God we died as Harris Walton Duke. The Samoans paid him to ignore the fraudsters. Over 400 whistleblowers have come forward against him. Walton is sicko. It shows every time he talks who pocket he's in, what an ass. Tim Walz will always be known for stolen valor. That's very true. To me, that's proof Tim was not on it. Tim was on the swindle. He absolutely should be brought on charges. These are all the comments right here. Prominers trying to deny Elise's tax information. Asked my lord, she shut up after her jaw hit the floor. And how much of a kickback is he getting for all this? That would be my next question. It just goes to show how disgusting Democrats are. Well, watch the video.
Meet the Press, Kristen Welker on MSNBC, presses out what's happening in Minnesota under his nose, and his answer is actually insane. During the show, also, I got to show you guys where he insinuates that Trump is literally passing away, that he is very sick. And I also have a Trump update about that, where Trump literally calls him a retard, and he is freaking out about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, take a listen to what's going on as all of this is blowing up in his face. I also have a huge update from Minnesota Department of Human Service employees, where this story gets 15 million views as to what has been happening and how all of this has happened under his watch. Watch and listen to what he has to say here.
Dozens of people of East African descent have been charged, convicted, and sentenced for stealing more than $1 billion in taxpayer money from government programs during COVID. As you know, Governor, that is more than Minnesota spends each year to run its Department of Corrections. So I want to give you a chance to respond to this. Do you take responsibility for failing to stop this fraud in your state?
Oh my. Well, he's already thrown off. Look at her face, because she knows the type of question she's proposing to a Democrat here. But his face says it all already. By the way, kudos to MSNBC for even bringing this up, because usually we just don't see this. But here we go.
Well, certainly I take responsibility for putting people in jail. Governors don't get to just talk theoretically. We have to solve problems. And I will note, it's not just Somalis. Minnesota is a generous state. Minnesota is a prosperous state, a well-run state. We're AAA bond rated, but that attracts criminals. Those people are going to jail. We're doing everything we can. But to demonize an entire community on the actions of a few, it's lazy.
Dozens of people of East Africa.
Wait a minute. Did he just say what I think he just said? That attracts criminals. So he just flat out, what is he admitting here? That his state is attracting criminals, and he wants to be credited for putting people in prison, but not take accountability for it happening under his watch. But it gets absolutely worse. Take a listen to how he kind of surrenders here.
And as far as demonizing our Somali community, maybe he could help us on some things. Demonizing an entire community, folks who are in the professions, educators, artists, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, they bring the diversity and the energy to a place like Minnesota. And for him to just randomly decide to do this, it makes no sense. Do your job. Get the criminals out. Secure our border. But do it with dignity and respect to the American tradition of respecting immigrants and refugees as a beacon of hope.
Well,
what? What is happening with Tim Walz? Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Walz says the Somalians are essential to Minnesota community, despite stealing millions or even billions in taxpayers. So what he does here is he literally says they bring diversity and energy to a place like Minnesota. But what he fails to mention is the accountability as to what is actually happening in his state. This is all happening under his nose. And he is saying, well, Trump, come help us. Come help me. What? You want Trump to come help you while you also run cover for the same people that have committed these crimes. So there's a back and forth that we should be very, very specific about. Because what exactly is he saying? Is he mad at Trump, or is he actually siding with Trump and admitting that he might need some help and come help? This has all happened under his nose, where this is where it gets worse for him, right? Because the wild thing about this is I told you guys about Minnesota Department of Human Service employees. Tim Walz is 100% responsible for massive fraud in Minnesota. Now you can go check out this page. It has a lot of followers. We are over 480 current staff of the Minnesota Department of Human Services. So apparently this is coming from a real page. They joined in 2023, and this page literally has 15.5. Oh wow, it jumped 18.9 million views on what they said about Tim Walz, right? And what's been happening out there with Ilhan Omar and the Somalian crowd. But let's focus on Tim Walz just for 1 second. They said, we let Tim Walz know of fraud early on, hoped for a partnership in stopping fraud, but no, we got the opposite response. Tim Walz systematically retaliated against whistleblowers using monitoring, threats, repression, and did the best to discredit fraud reports. Instead of partnership, we got a full weight of retaliation by Tim Walz, certain DFL members, and in different mainstream media. It's scary, isolating, and left us wondering, who can we turn to? So apparently they ran, right? The Department of Human Service employees ran to Tim Walz, and he decided to do absolutely nothing. In fact, he retaliated against them. In addition to the retaliation against whistleblowers, Tim Walz disempowered the office of the legislative auditor, allowing agencies to disregard their audit findings and guidance. Media and politicians supporting Tim Walz or the DFL agenda attacked whistleblowers who were trying to raise red flags on fraudulent activities. So now it's all blowing up. Mm-hmm. Now you have Trump blowing up and basically saying we need a halt. We need to take away temporary protect status, but we also need to halt from these countries. And this is...
There you go. That shows the length what the Democrats would do to the United States of America. They don't care about the fucking people of the United States of America. They care about the fucking foreigners and aliens that come over here and fuck our country up. That's the main Democratic Party since 1880. Since 1800s, that's all the Democrats care about, is the foreigners. They don't care about American people at all. If you see Democrat means Democrat or dictatoring, what do you think they got a donkey for? Simple reason why the Republican Democrats picked the donkey for. I'm going to pull up and show you why Democrats picked the donkey. Here you go. Here you go. This is why it shows right here. And this sums them all up beautifully in one word. The Democrat Party is one of the most two successful political branches of the United States. The party was founded in 1928 by those who support Andrew Jackson, making the oldest active politician in the world. The Democrat Party has won the presidency 15 times. The first president being Andrew Jackson, then Barack Obama, and everything. In 1824, the Democratic-Republican Party split into the Jackson moment and the National Republican Party. The Jackson moment will eventually become the Democrat Party in 1828. Democrat was a popular term that was used by those who support the movement. However, the name Democrat Party became the party's official name in 1844. The parties are often referred to as Democrats. The party symbol. Like most parties around the world, Democratic parties have both party symbols and colors. However, both the colors and symbols are unofficial and were never officially selected by the party officially during party members. The party symbol is a donkey or a jacket, depending on which side of the party view by one. The symbol can be interpreted positive or negative. To the president of the Democratic Party, the mascot is interpreted as lacking intelligence, strength, and often loud and stubborn. Yet, for the Democrat Party, the donkey is smart, brave, and humble. The blue is considered the color of the Democratic Party, while the red is the color of the Republican Party. The two colors were popularized by major media houses that used them as color schemes on election maps. Origin of the donkey symbol. The origin use of the donkey as party symbol is both intelligent and controversial. The symbol was meant to mock and attack Andrew Jackson by his opponents. The insult referred to him as a jackass instead of becoming irritated by the insult. Jackson liked the compliment and decided to use it for his pleasure game. He used the symbol of donkey or jackass as his campaign symbol. His opponents continued using the donkey to represent his stubbornness even while in office, a fact that Jackson agreed with in part. There you go. You ask the Democrats what donkey means, it means they're smart, intelligent. You ask Republican means they don't. What bottom line, they are often loud and dumb, lack intelligence and strength. If they lack intelligence, they have been smart enough and not just use bullshit propaganda and stand on toes. But what can you say when you got a damn jackass for a symbol? The growing popularity of the symbol. Although donkey was used as a symbol as early as 1828, Thomas Nast is often credited with making it the symbol of the Democratic Party. So there you go. And right here, first published cartoon to a living jackass kicking a dead lion in Harper Weekly in 1870. In 1874, he published another cartoon titled Third Turn Panic, in which he detects a donkey in lion skin chasing other animals, including Evan, which he refers to as a Republican vote. See, the Democrats these days don't know that shit. I bet you a lot of people don't know that shit either. And not only that, donkeys are very, very intelligent sometimes when it comes to stuff. Some donkeys will actually charge at their own reflection. That's how dumb they are sometimes. So let's get the video.
It's wise, but when you start to look into Minnesota, right, you start to realize that there's something even deeper going on, not just with Ilhan Omar, but also with, of course, Governor Tim Walz. And again, this is all coming from the New York Times. A damning quote on Tim Walz's failure to stop the fraud consuming Minnesota. And again, here we go. This is coming straight from the New York Times. So this is starting to really blow up. A lot of people are starting to really get into what is actually happening with migration, with the immigration system. People are beginning to really take a look deeper into this, as the left is literally, again, always going to make it about race, which, again, to their credit, it works. It works. People say, you know what? Trump is being too harsh. Trump is doing too much. I don't even care. These are all innocent people that came here to work hard. I don't believe any of this. But when you start to really look deep as to what is really happening inside of the state without all of the noise, you can really dive into what exactly Tim Walz is even responsible for. So the New York Times, again, speaking on U.S. immigration, how fraud. This is the title of their page here. Let me make sure that I get the right words here. The title of their column on U.S. immigration: how fraud swamped Minnesota's social services system. On Tim Walz's watch. This is damning. It's pretty damning information here for people to read. Again, New York Times, not Republican at all. Last time I checked, I think the New York Post probably favors Trump a lot more than the New York Times. So prosecutors say members of Somali diaspora, a group with growing political power, were largely responsible. President Trump has drawn national attention to the scandal amid his crackdown on immigration. And he also said something about Somalia. He said Somalia has no government. Somalia has nothing going on as far as policing goes and all these things that are happening. A lot of our money is going over there, and yet they're coming here to tell us exactly how we should run our country. That is a point that he is making against Ilhan and against Tim Walz. But again, this is where it takes the turn. Let me actually show you what Trump actually said about all of this on the plane. By the way, before I show you this, this is what Trump had to say. And I'm going to show, by the way, this is Trump today. So I'm also going to show you what Tim Walz said about President Trump. He said Trump during Thanksgiving, he was very, very sick, but this is Trump today. So let's actually go through, is Trump very, very sick, right? So again, I'll show you this video. President Trump just showed how it's done with the Somalian BS. Countries like Somalia that have virtually no government, no military, all they do is go ground and killing each other. Then they come into our country and tell us how to run our country. We don't want them. That's what he says to the media. Take a listen.
The people from different countries that are not friendly to us, and countries that are out of control themselves. Countries like Somalia that have virtually no government, no military, no police. All they do is go around killing each other. Then they come into our country and tell us how to run our country. We don't want them. What are you got to talk up.
She said how many countries? Is there a list?
Well, I guess we gave you 19, right? And it's probably more than that.
So again, that is him going back and forth with the media, which brings me to the next part of this video that I really want to talk about, because it's really very, 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 very interesting. Because I've seen other channels and a lot of people talk about Trump's well-being. I actually ended up looking up some videos, trying to see some videos from this past weekend, from Thursday all the way to now, if there were videos of Trump being super unwell. Now, that was Trump literally speaking on Air Force One. But here is Tim Walz saying that Trump is just deteriorating, like he is falling apart. And I'll show you Trump's response to Tim Walz, which is actually crazy and hilarious.
Well, here we got a guy on Thanksgiving where we spent time with our families. We ate, we played Yahtzee, we cheered for football or whatever. This guy is apparently in a room ranting about everything else. This is not normal behavior. It is not healthy. And presidents throughout time have released a couple things. They've released their tax returns, not Donald Trump, and they've released their medical records, not Donald Trump. And look, the MRI is one thing, but I think what's most concerning about this is, as your viewers out there are listening,
They're what Tim Walz is wrong. Trump did release out his medical records and did release out his tax records. This is the kind of shit the Democrats like to use to try to get people off their backs. It's basically a fucking smoke screen. Pull the wool over your eyes kind of situation. Tim Walz don't want people to focus on the shit he's fucking up on, so he's throwing the health issues out, or trying to say health issues out about Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump had leased out his health issues and everything, and talking about, yeah, bruise on his hand. No, that ain't no cancer, none of it. When you shaking hands all damn day, what Trump does, you go and get your hand bruised. Okay, Tim Walz just want to cause shit and make rumors. It's like basically the boy called Wolf. Remember that story? Where the boy, Wolf, 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 and got all the villagers come running? That's what he's doing right there. He's trying to get everybody off his ass because he's fucked up. That's all it is. Back to the video.
in the history of the world ever have an MRI assigned to them and have no idea what it was for, as he says. So look, it's clear the president's fading physically. I think the mental capacity, again, ranting, crazily at midnight on Thanksgiving about everything else. There's reasons for us to be concerned. This is a guy that randomly says the airspace over Venezuela is closed. He's ruminating on if you could win a nuclear war. Look, this is a serious position. It's the most powerful position in the world. And we have someone at midnight throwing around slurs that demonize our children. At the same time, he's not solving any of the problems.
So
You
he
ain't
says
doing
Trump
nothing
is
causing
fading.
trouble.
He says Trump is
Bitch.
deteriorating. He says Trump is fading away. Well, here's Trump today. You guys let me know exactly, is he fading away? And listen to what he said about, here we go.
In that same post, you mentioned Tim Walz, and you called him what many Americans do find an offensive word, retarded. Do you stand by that claim of calling Tim Walz retarded?
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with it. Absolutely, sure.
Because you don't think
You
that
have a problem with it? You know what? I think there's something wrong with him. Anybody that would do what he did, anybody that would allow those people into a state and pay billions of dollars out to Somalia. We give billions of dollars to Somalia. It's not even a country because it doesn't function like a country. It's got a name, but it doesn't function like a country. Yeah, there's something wrong with Walz.
in that same post, you mentioned Tim Walz, and you
So he is confirming. He is confirming that there is something wrong with Tim Walz and that he is I'm not gonna keep saying this word because I don't know YouTube's algorithm or policies when it comes to the R word. I think I repeated.
Tim Walz is a fucking retard.
It doesn't get me banned. But Trump is confirming that he is the R word. Again, I do think that there's a crazy obsession with now Trump's health, which is just wildly, to me, inaccurate, because Democrats literally acted like there was nothing wrong with Joe Biden. Now, you can make an argument that a lot of people on the right had an obsession with Biden's health, but that was because he couldn't do this. He could barely talk to the media nonstop. He was falling over. He was lost consistently. We're not really seeing that with Trump. I think that, but that's where the left is going with this. They left the Epstein files, they left everything, and they're just going straight for Trump's health, and Trump is fading away and all these things, which makes the story, I guess, to the left. People want to see Trump go. They definitely don't want him around at all. They hate him that much. I think we've seen that. So, yeah, I think that those are the two stories I want to share with you guys. Is, again, the human resources